Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm here to get you running quickly with Microsoft Teams, one of the most popular solutions for communication between coworkers. Now, Microsoft Teams does a lot. It's a platform for online meetings, but it's also a system for private chat messages, sharing files, organizing groups of people into conversation channels, and plenty more. But you don't have to use everything. Your best way to get started quickly is to get familiar with the three main features that most people use: team conversation channels, private chats, and online meetings. To get started, you can use Teams entirely in your web browser. Some people will start at the Microsoft 365 Copilot website. And from the Microsoft 365 site, you can click the Apps button on the left, then open Teams from there. Or you can go to Teams directly just by going to teams.microsoft.com. If you sign in with a free Microsoft account for personal use, then you'll see a simplified version of Teams for sending chat messages to friends and family or scheduling meetings. But if you have a Microsoft 365 account for business within a company, school, or similar organization, you'll see the full version of Teams and all the options that I'll be using in this video. From here, you can continue working with Teams in your web browser, or you can click the button with three dots near the top right. Not the button in the web browser, we're looking for the menu button in the Teams interface itself. That opens a menu, and you'll find the option to download and install the desktop application. If you prefer to use the desktop application, it's almost identical to working with Teams in your web browser. In Teams, I want to start by looking at the sidebar on the left. This is your main navigation panel, and we'll be focusing on the buttons for Chats, Teams, and the calendar. But wait, you may not see the Teams button. That's because at some point in 2025, Microsoft introduced a feature to combine the Chat section and the Teams section. I'll open that menu in the top right again, and this time I'll go to Settings. In Settings, you can go to the subcategory for Chats and Channels. And here we have the option to keep the chats and Teams combined or separate. The combined option is the default for most users, and with that set, we do not see a separate button in the sidebar for the Teams section. Instead, if you go to the Chat section, you can see a subcategory there for Chats and another subcategory for Teams and Channels. And you can always go to Settings and make them separate if you prefer. And with that in mind, let's get started with the Teams section. And yes, the entire application is called Teams, but the first feature we'll be using is also called Teams. And this is where you can post messages or have conversations with an established group of people within your company. So if you have the Teams button in the sidebar, go ahead and click that. And if not, you can go to the Chat section, then go down to the subcategory for Teams and Channels. And here you can see a list of all of the teams that you are a member of. You see that I am a member of 5 teams. A team is a group of people who work together and need to communicate on a specific topic. A team might be set up for a department in your company, for a task group, or for a special project. At the top, you can click the arrow next to the Compose button to open a menu, and you can create your own team. But most people don't make their own teams. In most cases, somebody in your organization has made a team and added you to it. So if you have one or more teams listed here, it's because somebody added you to those teams, or you made a team yourself. Within each team, there are separate channels. Each team will have at least one channel, which is often called General, but there can be several channels. These channels are where conversations happen. Choose a channel to see all the messages that have been posted there. Each channel should be named according to a topic, and it's best if you keep messages in the channel limited to that topic. To contribute to the conversation, you can click the button that says Post in Channel to make a new post. The subject line here is optional, and of course you can type your post into the message field. In addition to posting text, you can also share files within one of these posts. That's also completely optional, but it's an important option. Click the plus button in the message field, then choose Attach File. You can choose a file you have stored on OneDrive or upload a file from your computer. And when that's done, you can click the Post button to post the message. So you should post a message like this whenever you want to start a new conversation. But if there is an existing conversation thread that you want to contribute to, you should not post a new message. Instead, scroll to the existing conversation you want to reply to, then click the Reply in Thread button. Then type in your response to that specific thread. Now, if you ever want to make sure a specific member of the team sees your message, you can include them as an @mention. Just type the symbol and don't hit the spacebar. Just start typing in that person's name directly after the symbol. It searches the people in your company's directory, and you can choose that person, and then you can finish typing in the rest of your message. This works in a response or in a new post. Finish typing your message, then click the send button. That person will see a notification drawing their attention to that message. And as time goes on, these conversation threads will get longer and longer. If your teammates do share files in their messages, you may have to scroll back through the conversations to find the files that have been shared. Or a much easier option is to look at the tabs above the conversation. The Posts tab shows the posts and replies, but if you switch over to the Files tab, it shows a list of all of the files that have been shared in this channel. You can go over to a different channel, and you can switch between the Posts tab and the Files tab there. In a different channel, you will see a different file library, which only shows the files that were shared in that channel. And if there is a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or OneNote file shared in a channel, you can even click on it to view and edit it. Your changes are saved automatically, so when you finish, you can just close that window or that tab. Back in that conversation channel in Teams, you can always switch to the Post tab to see the conversations, and switch to the Files tab to see the shared files. So those are your teams. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that messages in a team can be seen by any member of that team. You can point at the name of a team and a button with 3 dots will appear there. You can open that menu and choose Manage Team. From here, you should click the Members tab, and you may have to open the subcategory labeled Members and Guests. And this shows a list of all of the members of this particular team. The owner is usually the person who created the team, and then there are the normal members. Members of a team can be added or removed at any time. New members will be able to see all existing conversations in a team, so any messages you may post or files you might share in a team will be visible to any new people who join that team later. But next, we'll see chats, which are significantly more private. You can have one-on-one conversations, or you can have chats with a small group. But nobody outside of the established recipients will be able to see chat messages. If you're not already there, click the chat button in the sidebar on the left, and this time we will focus on the subcategory labeled Chats. Directly in the Chat subsection, you may see some recent chat conversations. You can click one to continue where you left off, or click the Compose button at the top to start a new chat message. In the To field, you can start typing a name, and it will search your company's directory. Then you can select the person you want. And if you've chatted with that person in the past, you'll see your previous messages. If you want to send a message to just one person, that's great. Or with your cursor still in the To field, you can search for another person and add them. This will be a group chat. When your recipients are all set, you can click the Message field and type your message. And just like in a team channel, you can share a file as well. Just click the plus button and attach the file. When you're ready, click Send. When your teammates respond, you'll see the response right here. Your most recent chats will be listed on the left, so you can always select a different chat conversation. And if you receive a response in a chat that you do not currently have open, you will see a notification, and the chat that has new unread messages will be bold. You can select that chat and continue the conversation. Many of the features that we saw in team channels will work in chats as well. We already saw that you can share files. @mentions will work here as well. And at the top, we see the tabs for Chat and Shared. The Chat tab shows the conversation, and if you switch over to the Shared tab, you see all of the files that have been shared in this chat. So chats are a great way to send messages and share files that can only be seen by the people included in those private chats. Next, let's see meetings. You can schedule online video meetings or attend meetings your teammates have invited you to. Your meetings, as well as any other events you may have scheduled, are managed in the Calendar section. So select the Calendar button on the left side. Now, this might look familiar because this is the same calendar that you would see in Outlook. The interface is just more optimized for online meetings. If somebody invited you to a meeting, you can see it on the calendar. You can click a meeting to see information about it, and you may want to accept or decline the invitation to let your coworkers know if you will be attending. And there's a button to join the meeting when you're ready. Or you might want to schedule your own meetings. You can do that with the New button near the top right. You'll need to give your event a name, and you can set the date and time. And you also have the option to set a reminder alert up at the top. And at this point, it's considered to be an event, just a reminder on your own calendar. But there's a switch that can turn the event into a Teams meeting, or you can add people to the invitees field. Just start typing in a name, it searches your company's directory, then choose the person. And after you add at least one person, the switch to turn it into a Teams meeting will be enabled. So go ahead and add all the people you want. And Teams will also let you invite somebody outside of your organization by putting in their full email address. Just be aware some companies have restrictions for that, so you might not be able to invite external attendees. On the bottom right, you can see an indicator of whether these attendees are available at that time. You don't want to schedule a meeting when you know your teammates are unavailable. But an even better way to view this is by going to the Scheduling Assistant tab up at the top. This shows when each person is unavailable, and this is extremely useful for large group meetings. Of course, if you do invite somebody outside of your organization, you will not be able to see that person's availability. And from here, you can drag the box for the meeting to a time when everybody is available. Then you can go back to the Event tab, check all of your other settings, then click Send. Now, if somebody invites you to a meeting, you'll see it on your calendar. We saw that a moment ago. You can click an event, then accept or decline the invitation. Or if you created a meeting, you can click on it, and there's an option to edit it, so you can change meeting details later. And for either type, there is a Join button. So when the time comes and you're ready for the meeting, you can click that Join button. Now, before you actually join a meeting, you'll start here on this Join screen where you can check your settings and check your appearance. You can turn your camera on or off, and you can check which microphone you have enabled. Also, if you prefer to have a virtual background, you can set that under Effects and Avatars. But when you're ready, you can click the Join Now button, and you will join that meeting. And I think my coworker Garrick is already here. Hi, Garrick.
Hey, Nick.
So let's just take a quick look at some of the options you have during a meeting. You can turn your camera on or off using the button at the top, and you can also mute your microphone. I like to keep my microphone muted when I'm not talking, which decreases noise in the meeting, but I'll turn that back on again. I also like to use the chat option, and this way you can send text-based chat messages during your meetings, which is great if you need to share a link to a website. Click that button again to close it. Another important thing you may need is to record a meeting. So if you click the More button, it opens up a menu where you have the options to record or record a transcription for your meeting. And of course, there are lots of other options that you can set up here while the meeting is in progress. When you're finished and you want to leave the meeting, you can just click the Leave button up in the top right. I'll see you later, Garrick. So those are the three main things that people use Microsoft Teams for: team conversations, private chats, and meetings. But before we finish up, there are three quick small things that will help you use Teams more efficiently. One of them we've already seen: settings. Click the button with three dots in the top right to open the menu and access settings. There's a lot you can configure here, so you might want to take some time to explore. Next, just to the right of that menu, there is your Account menu. If you have more than one Microsoft account, you can switch between them here. So maybe you have a Microsoft 365 account at work and a personal Microsoft account that you use for your family. You can add both accounts and switch to the one you want at any time. And finally, back to our sidebar on the left. You can right-click on any button and choose to unpin it. Sometimes people ask me something like, the calendar button isn't there. Why is that? Well, it's possible that you may have removed it accidentally by unpinning it. And if you do, it's really easy to get back. Just click the button with three dots on the sidebar, and any buttons that you've removed will be listed here. Here's that calendar button that I unpinned. You can right-click on a button, then choose Pin to place it back in the sidebar. And you can even drag these buttons up and down so you can change the order or put things back where they were. But of course, this also means that you can configure the sidebar and you can remove any of the buttons that you don't use. And if you change your mind later, you can always add them back. So, have you decided to give Microsoft Teams a try? Or maybe it's not your decision. You might work for a company that has already decided on Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams for everybody in your organization. Either way, I think you'll enjoy it. At least now you're ready to jump in and get started with the core features that most of your teammates will be using. To keep learning and stay aware of new videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to this channel.